Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today we have war and the execution of Plan B, which goes quite well with this here in Airmore, and also we have good news and bad news. The bad news, just kind of take a look at it. The bad news is it looks like we probably can't do Plan A. Plan A was to go for a throne rush on turn 42. Turn 43, but we actually could have done a turn 42. The issue is this has a Titan here and a bunch of flying guys. And what our plan was to drop our Pretender God, this guy, the big stick, in and have him cast Foul Vapors and just kill everything solo bolo, and then also bring a Sorgina to build a lab. The Sorgina builds a lab while he claims the throne, and then he teleports out on the following turn. So 4 turns, we grab 4 thrones. 2 with our Pretender God, teleporting and then claiming twice, and then 2 with our very, very thick and handsome Patsky, who 230 health points. If he's fighting in our Dominion, he's basically never dying. And there's maybe we're moving him this way to eventually claim this throne. There's maybe some strategy where we just try and bait people underground and just murder them, because this is a lot to go through, and he has a ton of magic resist when in our own friendly Dominion. And okay, that's kind of the bad news. There's not enough good thrones for us to teleport onto. This throne is good for us to teleport onto, but we would have to work something out with Roos, which I'm still thinking of how we're supposed to handle this, whether we're supposed to message them, just attack them, and this throne also looks like one we could take as well. It does have wyverns, so the problem with the wyverns is that the Sorgina is very likely to die. If there's flyers and the flyers hit the backline, the Sorgina is just never going to survive. So it looks like it might be more of a slowly go for these 3 thrones and then teleport onto this one. Something like this. So that's the bad news. The good news is this. They had been stacking in Blue Moss Forest like 700 units. We thought that they were going for the throne. We thought that they were preparing to coalition us, Therados and Atlantis. But that doesn't seem to be the case. These Atlantis and Therados seem to still be fighting, and in a world where we're fighting Xibalba and Airmore at the same time, Airmore's basically dead. We'll get to that in a second. And so, I think that we could fight Xibalba solo bolo fairly easy. I don't know about us fighting Therados and Atlantis, but it looks like that's not going to be the state of affairs. So with that said, we also have Wah, which we will kind of get to in the rundown here. We have a message from Tianchi. We sent them 100 gold, thanking them for not taking our provinces. They say that they're honorable. We're fans of this behavior. We have a message from Yomi. Now, we started slinging Yomi a couple turns ago, and it takes... we send the sling, on turn 38. They receive it on turn 39. They send out a message on turn 39. We receive it on turn 40. So there's a delay with the Diplo. So far, he, in terms of when he sent this, he has received 100 gold from us. But okay, many thanks. I have not been the aggressor in any of the wars I've now fought. I offered Muspelheim a nap once Lanka and Tianchi attacked me. It was rejected. They are a bit of a rump nation from what I could perceive. This is true. Just a handful of provinces. I'm afraid I will be their target until they are finished. I could use some death gems greatly. We asked him what he needed, along with any shock resistance items you could spare. I could offer fire gems in return, and perhaps some earth or air gems as well. We are going to give him a bit of a response, but still considering what we want to say to him, but we're going to send him 10 death gems, which is kind of painful to send. This is probably the only amount of death gems we'll send him. We're going to send him another 200 gold, so this is going to be up to 500 gold total, and also send him a storm spool, which we were constructing and we wanted kind of for our throne push, but now we're not going to need it. We're constructing another one for him this turn. But okay. And he also mentions he has water and glamour gems available for trade as well. We don't need water gems. Glamour gems are kind of okay. We mainly want air gems. And he sends us a bunch of gems. Now, he sent us 4 gems when we send him 100 gold. 25 to 1 is a pretty solid rate, and if he's going to send us, like, this quantity of gems, like always, we are super... this isn't even, like... We were prepared to just sling him for nothing, which I think is kind of the correct play, although he does have chaos. Lanka's troops are more powerful in turmoil, and he has turmoil, so that's a little bit of a bummer for him. Looks like Lanka has pushed him back quite a bit. We thought about teleporting in on this, but decided not to. A little bit of a cheeky play, considering we magic move onto it, and we have naps with everyone, and then that puts us right next to this throne in a really obnoxious spot. But I don't think it's that useful. Alright, we finished our research in enchantment, and on to enchantment 6. Now, enchantment 6, if we're not doing this throne rush thing, we might pivot and go conjuration 5 first instead. We have a couple options here, and the main differential here is enchantment 6 is going to help us to take this throne. It's not going to really help us against Xibalba, because Xibalba has poison resistance on his bless, and he's got poison-resistant scorpions, and it'll help us kill some of Xibalba's stuff, but then, like, we can't use some of our troops. Like, if we're gonna use Foul Vapors, we can't really use this. The reason to maybe do this, we could cast Riches from Beneath, which we're approaching like 5,000 income, which I think is quite a lot. This would bring us up to like at least 6,000, maybe even 7,000. That's so much money. I think that a lot of these people took Hell Blesses. Virtually all of them, except for Airmore, have like bad scales. Airmore has good scales. We have good scales, or we have like medium/good scales. Lanka has bad scales. You might even be able to see some of their scales here. Tianchi took really bad scales. They have like a 30-point bless. I guess it's not catastrophic, but they have a very, very hefty bless. Yomi took bad scales. Xibalba took bad scales, but I don't think we have a very good vision on a Xibalban thing. I don't know. This isn't quite what Xibalba has, but... they don't have very good scales. They took a rather big bless. Roos probably has the best scales out of anyone else. And so let's just quickly look at their bless. We could just kind of reverse think through how good their thing is. Although they might have taken a Dormant Pretender instead of Imprisoned. A lot of these people took Imprisoned Pretender, bad scales, huge stat bless. And it looks like he's got 4, 6, 10, loud car outside, 17, combat speed's coming from... I forget the combat speed bless, but he's got like 20 points in bless, so okay, he maybe has kind of okay scales. And then Muspelheim took an absolutely monstrous bless, so his scales are not the best, they're not the worst either. They're kind of okay. And then Atlantis is kind of okay. So, I forget the point we were making going through the scales, but we don't think anyone has tremendous income. The next biggest person, we're on 39 locations after this turn. The next biggest person is Atlantis, with like 28, we think, minus this, so like 27. And so... I think the most amount of money, Atlantis is maybe making 2.5k, and then most other people are making maybe a third what we are. And so, that's just in raw gold. They have a bless that's like way better in combat than our bless, but our bless, just to kind of review, because I don't think we've gone over it, is going to be poison resistance, blur, reinvigoration. We'll take a look at that. That's actually starting to come in useful on our thugs. And this bless, I think, scales pretty well on thugs. Disease resistance, blood surge, and a little bit of heroism. So, okay. We cast a few things, summon a few things. We do cast Call of the Wild on the Greater Wild, which, you know, the name fits. And let's view this battle. This is kind of just a straightforward, like, little rating thing. We know that he's been under PDing stuff quite a bit. And so this has 1 PD. And I don't think that this works against 6 PD, because I think these wolves rout. But this summons 20 wolves and a werewolf. Was curious of what the behavior of the werewolf was, because we haven't used this too much before. The werewolf just stays behind the troops, so these guys have to get it done, because the werewolf will rout as well, and there was no escape path, but okay, these guys get it done, and we deny kind of nothing. Or no, we do. No, we deny nothing, because this guy wasn't getting income from this province anyways, because he doesn't have a way to trace it out through Emmerich, and Airmore is under siege. But okay, we deny, it's a moral victory of sorts, because we're not getting the income yet anyways, but we will be soon. So, then we do find a magical site, Earth Blood Seepage, very nice, 2 more Earth Gems, and I just want to say, Obscuro, this Sino, and Ulm have been completely useless. Obscuro has not found a single magical site, and we have, like, hired him out for, like, 15 turns now. Ulm, we have been using to search for quite some time now, and the Sino, as well, have not found any of these sites, so not really getting very much gem diversity, trying to be proactive about it, but it's really not being that successful. Okay, and so next we are going to have a series of battles. 4 battles, Ripewoods, Mountains of Evernight, Titan Breath Peaks, and Lithia. Now, the biggest one was Ripewoods, so we'll save that one for last, but Titan's Breath Peaks, why don't we just view the battles kind of one at a time here. And, okay, this, we're just passing units through, more so than anything else. We do not need anywhere near this amount of units in order to get this done, but we have a small little front line and some undisciplined guys that are going to get in there, and he has... Okay, so this is never going to be successful, and the very, very fast units are the Mouflins, so the Mouflins actually do all the work here. Mouflin's not very good combat unit, but they do have, 16 strength, 16 blunt damage, and, okay, they don't have a tremendous amount of attack, but if you're 4 dudes and you're facing down 40 Mouflins, they will get way more attacks in on you. Interesting that we see the Yeti's behavior is a little bit different than these guys' behavior. The Yetis come forward, and I guess we're trying to maybe do sticks and stones, but this is not exactly what we want. We'd rather the Yetis stay in their lane with the Cave Drakes. That's really kind of the main idea here. But okay, fair enough. So that's Titan's Breath Peaks. Then we have the Mountains of Evernight, so let's go to that. I believe that this one is the one where we are getting our Myru in here. We have a couple Sorginas. The Sorginas are just here because we do want to... We actually misplayed this. I think we should have split the Sorginas up, because we're just going to use them to search afterwards. And this is another Tale of the Mouflin. Except he has like 20 units here, in addition to a little bit of PD. Oh, that's a tree. And the Mouflin just kind of get in. And eventually the cavalry wrap. They have lances. It's kind of... not the best unit, not the worst unit. I think they're worth the gold. They're slow to build because they take a lot of they take a lot of resources. A little hiccup action. Or not a hiccup. I don't know what that was. But okay. We take them out. And then next up we have Lithia, which is kind of one we were a little bit concerned with committing the Sorginas to. We thought about committing the Sorginas, and our idea was, if these guys dropping in, if this doesn't work, it routes us. And if it does work, the Sorginas are really unnecessary. And they have, okay, a bunch of mages. Mages are really soft to flyers, because mages have terrible stats. Just generally speaking, they don't have very much defense. They don't have very much protection. These ones are actually decent to that regard. But yeah, okay, just the mages are enough. Call a hospital, but for his mages. But when you drop in on a bunch of, like, non-mage units, you, like, can't do anything. Yeah, so, call a hospital. Did I say hospital? I meant ambulance. And then we have Lithia, which is the most substantive battle, so we'll take a little bit of a look at that as well here. And, oop, nope, that's not Lithia. That's not Lithia, sorry. Lithia was the place in which we had that big battle in the previous war that went sideways. But okay, here we have what we have ferried over with our dear gnome friend, whom we are trying to protect, which is basically, we basically just have 2 Gentils, a Sorgina, and a pure, like, anvil frontline, where these guys aren't, their job isn't to do anything but soak damage. There's 80 of them. They have, they can kill stuff while they're online, but the main point is they have 18 protection, 50 morale, and they exhaust after 15 turns, and so we'll see them just kind of do stuff and then just stop moving. And then we have a little bit of a backline that we're kind of trying to protect, but we'll see these guys, they get in, and they just stop the cavalry, basically. This is kind of their only role here. We see a little bit of damage coming through. But, okay, in the backline, we have our guys casting a bunch of buffs on themselves, getting and receiving from the Sorgina's little bit of Moss Body. I think that they're going to receive after them, or from the single Sorgina. After Moss Body, they're going to receive some other stuff. Looks like there's buffs in the backline here as well. Let's take this a little bit slower. It's the same script as we had before. I think Mist Form is going to be coming in, and these guys will wrap around a little bit. They're on attack cavalry. One of these guys is on attack cavalry as well. But now I think that these guys they haven't fatigued out yet, and we have 1 Gentil jumping into the backline. So there's no protection here, and blop. He just kills everything in one go. Partially from the AoE from the Mace of Eruption, but he also has 3 attacks, and he has, relatively high attack skill, unlikely to miss, and if he misses, he has backups, so we get Tangle Vines, so he's going to be out a couple turns, and then this Gentil is just causing, a ruckus over here, where he's, bopping everything in 1 hit as well, or 1 attack phase, just boop, 60 damage, absolutely massive. He has quite a big strength score. More on that later. This Gentil, I think, breaks free. He doesn't kill the entire square in 1 go, which is a little bit surprising, but okay, he does that time. And then, I don't even think he finishes off the other one. I think he comes over here. But the main idea is, these guys, at this point, are doing nothing. And this is why this unit's terrible. It's terrible as a unit, right? For killing stuff, but it's exactly what we want for what we're doing. We would actually prefer these guys, I think, to a bunch of heavy infantry, because the heavy infantry only have protection 13, so they can't hold off as long. And if we get enough time, the Gentils will kill everything. We could have come in with just the Gentils, but then we wouldn't be able to bless them with the Sorgina and buff them with the Sorgina, and we would care about the Sorgina maybe having some issues. But, yeah, just look at this. Masterful. Just bops the entire group, but once we get going, we just need that wind-up period to self-buff. It's probably a mistake to self-buff for 5 turns. We're probably just supposed to get in there. Sorgina also doing some work, and she's only at 100 fatigue, despite casting a whole bunch of spells, partially courtesy of the reinvigoration, part of it off the Blood Surge, but 4 off the Bless, and were it not for that, I think... is there a way for us to tell what turn we're on? I should just be using the squares in general. So it's round 12, and she's cast at least 6 spells. I think a little bit more, so she is not only wearing something that gives her extra encumbrance, but she's managing to kind of stay pretty well. And then these guys, the Gentils, have very little fatigue. If they stay under 50, they avoid this threshold where it's easier to crit them, so that's kind of useful. And we have 12 reinvigoration. The reinvigoration we're coming from is the Boots of the Messenger, which were necessary to make it this far, is giving 6, 4 from our Bless, and 1 from Blood Surge. I don't know where the last bit's coming from, but okay. These guys, 30 protection. Magic bonus. These guys have so much... these guys have so much magic resist anyways. Maybe we're just worrying about nothing with those guys. Just, really tough to try and figure out how are we supposed to kill these guys, because they have enormous protection, big HP pools, and they are regenerating. This guy's still at full life here, so... I don't even think that they've taken damage once, though, with that level of protection. But the point is, we just need them to kind of get going, and then we kill a bunch on their way out, which is nice. He doesn't get as much residual troops to kind of flee to Ralothia. And we're kind of faced with some options here in regards to what we do. We could immediately push to Ralothia. I think we want Ripewoods to not get taken pretty badly. And if he comes and attacks us in Ripewoods, we would be really sad if we went to Ralothia. But also maybe give an opportunity for him to kind of reach out to us. I'm not sure. But we also do see his battle, so we know that this is not anything to worry about. We have a stack of mages. One of them has a lion pelt, which is cute. It's what we're putting on our mages. So total 4 mages. The front line is Chud warriors. And then the back line, a much smaller number, is Chud skin shifter, which these guys will turn into big bears. Shout out to bears. And so he gets in here, and we have a couple of quites slip through here. Don't know what their script was, but these guys have, I think, Blood Surge? No, Enchanted Blood. Or they're just berserked. Fair enough, they've taken some damage. They're really good at punching through, but yeah, this is going to be kind of... The information from this is important to us, so I'm glad we did not move our scout off of this, but he just breaks through, and there's not much doing, and this is not enough. I don't even know if he scripted this, because when he was scripting actively, he was placing these guys on different squares. I think that there's a decent chance that the Airmore player is just kind of going through the motions at this point, which I do not blame him. I do not blame him because this vampire sieging your capital thing is like minus 500 income, and you can't recruit your cap mages, so this is basically just death, and so it's a matter of picking apart the carcass. And so these are some of the battles that we have gone through. We get a couple of events. Feral Woods, we get additional unrest to kind of low roll the events a little bit here. Deep Waygore, we get some nature gems. We get a couple blood slaves, and I think this was another bad event. Province resources, I guess, is kind of okay. We're not making use of it at this juncture, but okay. And then we lose a scout here, but it does let us know what he has, which is not too much. Shikome, though. Actually. So I don't know Yomi that well, but this is an intriguing one because this is sacred. Oh, these are spooky as hell, because we know that Yomi has unholy weapons. So this does 12 damage, but it's going to do plus 15... Oh, and it paralyzes. It's going to do plus 15 damage to sacreds. So this is actually really good for fighting Lanka. So I think we like the situation where we're just slinging this guy and this guy's fighting Lanka. Or the Lanka-Tianchi alliance, which is kind of the idea here. We get some patrolling done, and we also get 2 famous heroes, which is fantastic for us. They are the 2 men of Ripewoods, and by men I mean gentles, and we roll really, really well. We roll quickness, which means now instead of getting 2 attacks per turn once you cast personal quickness, he is going to get 3 attacks per turn. So this guy is going to blender anything that gets put in front of him. They already were blendering everything, but this is really kind of quite strong. And the other one is enormous strength, which isn't like the best thing you can roll, but this is definitely makes him a role player, because if there's something that has a lot of protection, we can get a whole ton of strength on this guy and then use him to just thwack it. We can use our Prophet as well. Our Prophet is very good at this. But only in our own Dominion. Our Prophet has 37 strength, because he gets +1 per Dominion, and we have quite a bit of Dominion. So that is going to be quite good for us. And then we can take a look at the Hall of Fame here. We still have fish slips at the top of the people who are alive. Patsky, which is our Prophet, and then these are the 2 new gentlemen who have made it in. Barea and Basil Juan, not to be confused with being a Basil Juan, because he is a gentle. Also kind of topping the chart. And Lucan. Lucan, who we are flying in. We gave him a flying ointment that we took off of our Gentil, and are just kind of doing some like logistics issues here. I think he was in Olifa. We just want him over here to command the troops. And so for this turn, we're kind of just taking the turn off as a logistics turn and or to see how Roos behaves. I'm not sure even how we want to deal with Roos, because we can't attack him. We were very concerned with opening up another front when we thought that Atlantis and there was a decent chance Atlantis and Theranos were about to try and dogpile us. If that's not the case, we have an enormous army over here, not our entire army. And so fighting Roos is not that unappealing, because we would be able to push to like here, and then have a think about pushing these provinces because they have like infinite PD, or just trying to go around. I don't know the best approach there. I know that the PD can't fight the Gentils, so a pretty interesting idea is we could just give the Heroic Quickness Gentil, we could just give him a flask of holy water and just let him like get a couple scouts in there, or try to, because it's hard with the level patrolling, and just drop him in and let him solo bolo the PD, because the PD is never going to kill this guy if he casts like personal regeneration and has 30 protection, and eventually he'll just rout the PD if there's no support of any kind. Specifically, this would be the province to go after, because this one has a fort but this one doesn't. But either one's probably kind of okay. As far as we know, these borders haven't changed in quite some time, so I don't think that Tianchi and Roos are fighting anymore. And so that's kind of what we have going on up top, is just a reorganization of stuff. Also, we have Sorgina searching. We are trying to distribute our priests. We are going to try and wipe out all the Dominion we can. And then we might try and Dom push Airmore. Our other option is he doesn't have a good way of killing the vampires. Our big Gentils are actually just spectacular at killing the vampires. This guy might be able to clear out the vampires solo bolo. If we just take the flying ointment off and give him the holy water that will just bless him, and just chuck him in there with a Mace of Eruption, doing fire damage, which does extra damage to the vampires. The vampires also are weak to magic weapons, so we would just be able to cut through them pretty handedly. We are keeping a scout here, just because we're kind of curious exactly what's there, and we might attack it if we are thinking of attacking that, but that just unlocks Airmore. And we want that province, but unlocking their ability to produce things and hit us with whatever they've been summoning in there is a little bit less appealing, but would love to see them sally out. I don't know if they're going to sally out, so then we're put in a weird spot where we kind of are incentivized to just spend forever waiting until we Dom kill them, and just build a bunch of temples around here, and eventually kind of get the job done. To that end, we are building a temple here, and we're probably going to preach out of Ripewoods pretty aggressively. In order to get that down, we need to preach out of here aggressively in order to get the Snowy Dominion so we can cross over and eventually free up this province. We'll also need this, just if we actually grab this, we would free up the province income, so that's important. We're getting a ton of temple checks though. And I think we have 2 more temples going up this turn. But currently we have 10 temples. I think we're going to try and see about pushing 15 temples to bring our Dominion strength up to 10. And right now we have, 18 temple checks. And so if we build another 5 temples from here, we'll have 23 temple checks. And a lot of these people do not have anywhere near the amount of checks that we have, right? They can push up their Dominion in their own locations, but we have 1, 2, 3, plus 3 from the gods, 6, plus 1 from the Prophet, 7, plus 1 from the capital, 8 temple checks for like Xibalba, for example. This is one of the reasons why we've seen the priests preaching here for forever, is he's trying to maintain his dominion here. But look at this, he lost dominion in Genom. So this is slowly like hurting Theranos, which we're okay with. It's not what we're actively trying to do, but if Theranos is... We prefer an environment where the 2 water nations just stall out against each other for forever. And if they are going to stall out against each other for forever, and Yomi is going to tie up Tianchi and Lanka because we're slinging him and Yomi's not dying, then there's not really a coalition that we're afraid of. Because I think we can fight Rus, Xibalba, and what's left of Airmore all simultaneously, and we're not even fighting Rus. So, I guess the one wild card is Muspelheim, but I don't know if Muspelheim has a good way to push us outside of building boats, getting boats in some way, and try and go for this. I think we have a relatively friendly relationship, but Muspelheim hasn't responded to us too much. We're generally also going out of our way to aggress against people who are not responding to us, like Lanka didn't respond to us. Lanka's got a fat stack of his sacreds, though. This is like 15 turns worth of recruitment of sacreds, so that is a little bit spooky, but what we have here, these guys are probably pretty good at killing those. Because this doing 27 damage and having the paralyze effect is strong enough. Also, crazy attack density. Very squishy unit, but crazy attack density because you're going to be getting 6 attacks because size 3, you can fit 3 a square. I think it's maybe worth taking a look at our spend here this turn. Have a little bit less turn than a little bit less money than last turn, reducing the amount we're spending on units by a few hundred. We are recruiting some mercenaries that we will not need this next turn, but the turn after we want them. We want them when we hit enchantment, and we do want to lock them in because we think other people are going to bid for them. We want them when we hit enchantment 6, so I guess we're going to stay on enchantment 6. The idea is that Vinemen will not die to foul vapors, so we can put a bunch of Vinemen in front here. So we're recruiting them up there after we search the area a little bit, and so let's pull this back up. We are adding province defense to the place in Airmore, because it's not our dominion yet, although we do get free province defense from the Throne of Law. We're building 2 temples. I think that we are building one. We covered the one we were building in Airmore, and then we're also building one in Undermountain. We are moving the Zot over to here, and he will build a lab there as well after he searches. Really kind of not doing very well on the searches with the death gems either. We have a ton of places that have been searched with Death 1, and not a lot of sites have been found, so I think we're overall being pretty proactive about searching for gem sites, but not getting very lucky. And then we have the 200 that we sent over to Yomi. So we craft a little bit of a message here for Yomi. Honorable Bushi. Bushi means, roughly speaking, warrior. These are all the death gems I can spare, as I need the remainder to forge a booster to site search better. This is true. Generally speaking, try and speak entirely things that are factually accurate. But if we are going to be deceptive, we do it by either omitting information or supplying information. Like, for example, with Tianchi and Lanka, feeding Lanka information that we assume he actually already knows regarding Tianchi in order to maybe win some brownie points without actually conceding any sort of information. And of course, we're trying to conceal how strong we are, which is increasingly becoming an area in which we will probably invest more resources into trying to deny scouting and this type of thing, so that people don't realize for as long as possible how big we are. But continuing on, I'll try to send a total of 3 lightning resist items over the course of 3 turns before I can get a response again. We send out, then he receives. So turn 40, we're sending this message. Turn 41, he receives it. If he sends something out on turn 41, we will receive it on turn 42. So next turn, we're going to try and send him the other 2 items. I think we're forging them this turn. Hopefully that'll be enough. We don't want to feed him too many lightning resist items, and I don't think we want to feed him the lightning resist rings. If we ever fight him, we're going to be using Sorginas and lightning spells as one of the tools that we have, and so we're sending him the tools by which he can use to defeat us, so a little bit awkward. I assume the Misc slot is preferable to weapons armor, as you have those mostly covered. My frightened scout tells me he did discover our scout this turn. We also tell him what gems are best for us. Air gems are best for me, earth gems are good, glamour are okay. Of the ones he suggested that he could send, fire aren't that great, as I don't have to jump through a lot of hoops to get any fire mages. Empowering someone in death fire booster. We're floating this booster thing in the hopes that he actually is willing to just send us boosters for limited kind of... generally speaking, my understanding is if you're going to send someone boosters, you're going to charge extra for that. And if he is willing to, because we're just kind of sending him stuff for free, give us boosters at non-premium, then that would be really good for us. Either the death booster or the fire boosters. Any of this would be really good for us. And the fact that he's sending us anything at all is just gravy, because we were just planning on sending him free stuff for a while. Yomi as a nation gets minus 25% income, so the gold for him is actually probably really a very high percentage of his monthly income. Us just sending 200 gold, whereas for us it's virtually nothing. So I have a huge surplus of income of water gems, so those won't be helpful except for trading or liquidating to pearls. And then warm regards. And we can just kind of maybe take a look at some of these boosters, but we have these 3 things heading out to Yomi. The boosters that we want, in particular, we want to be able to forge this. This requires Fire Magic 4. So in order to do this, we need to get someone up to Fire Magic 3 and have the global enchantment for forging +1 level up. And so we need to empower a Gentil to get him to 1, and then use the booster to get him to 2, and then with that, even then it's still tricky. It takes us forever to get to this. So if he was willing to send us this would be an enormous boon, because I think we actually have to boost a Gentil twice. We have to empower a Gentil, then boost him, which is going to be like an enormous amount of gems. I think 75 total to get him to level 2, and then also empower that same Gentil in death. So that we can go for the other booster. I forget where exactly the booster for the Death Fire duo is. I do know you can equip it. It must be in miscellaneous somewhere. It might not even be in this. We'll find it. Alright, it's actually in Construction 7. So we're really far off from being able to do this. And then once we jump through all those hoops, and have Conjuration 6, then we can break into fire with summon the Flame Spirit. So this is the way in which we are going to eventually have fire magic commanders. And this is a lot to jump through, but if he was willing to send us stuff early, then we could get going a little bit ahead of time. Incidentally, did want to kind of point out why he wants death gems. We are assuming, based on kind of information that we have, is the Shikome, the unit that we were taking a look at. These require death gems to summon. So we've effectively gifted him 8 Shikome, or 10 Shikome rather, because we sent him 10 gems, which is going to directly allow him to kind of combat what he's dealing with right now. And these guys are going to be really good at tearing up sacreds. And so in a world where Lanka doesn't have, because I think Lanka's just been building up sacreds for forever. We saw that they had that pile of like 15 turns worth of recruitment of sacreds. In a world where they attrition out a ton of the sacreds, this is going to be good for us, because we're a little bit scared of Lanka's combination of both Bless and Sacreds. Thought about it a little bit, and we're actually quite unsure whether or not we want to fight Roos or not. And so I think we'll let the Roos question marinade. But important to note is what we have here will just get way, way stronger. So Roos may think that attacking here is a decent idea. I don't think that he will. I think he'll just want to go for this stuff. And we kind of want to go for that stuff too. We kind of want to have these 2 forts. We don't think that Roos's force is kind of comparable to ours. And we have more maneuverability around here because we haven't seen Roos do anything related to sailing. We have Kobold that gives us a sailing here for up to like 300 guys, although he can't command 300 guys, so that's kind of a moot point. And we also have access to, and I'm assuming that he does not have this, manual of water breathing, so we can go underwater with 50 troops as well, and just kind of ferry them across, and would actually have a decent ability to push Roos, I think. But a world where we open up fewer fronts and have fewer fronts is preferable, and it looks like we could just like let him have these 3 things and just button up and take Airmore and take the lion's share of the spoils. Hearing from him will be curious. I wonder if he sends us a message. We sent him a message before and have not heard back from him. Generally speaking, people who are not messaging or looking to negotiate, we're just going to be way more likely to attack because we don't know where they are. And just generally speaking, if someone's friendly, I think they're more likely to message. As a very, very limited heuristic, they're more likely to message, and unfriendly people are less likely to message. And Roos is going to be looking for someone to fight next, and presumably most of his forces are here or heading this way, so Roos may have the idea of, hey, I got this big army, let's rumble, let's do it. And so I think just staying in Ripewoods, building up the temple, and waiting and seeing is kind of decent, especially because we're going to get a little bit of additional information. We're going to see how much is coming from behind, because if he patrols with this, and we've seen him patrol in forts before with an entire force, if he patrols with this force, and there's like 200 guys coming on top of this to patrol as well, and we attack into that, that's like, suddenly the calculus changes very much. So anytime we attack him, we will want to see if the province behind him has a whole bunch of stuff. But I think that he's not necessarily going to be expecting what's coming. We kind of showed some of it already, but like also we have like, for example, this 40 stack of Myru that are coming to Titan Breath Peaks and then to Ripewoods on the following turn. And so a lot of our army is lagging behind. This is the expeditionary force, not like the actual army. And so I think that just waiting and not fighting immediately is going to be good. And so this is one reason for us to just kind of stay here. I think there's a decent chance he attacks this and destroys the temple, which is what we want to see. I don't think he could recruit Jade Maidens out of here, but I'm not 100% sure. If he can, what a tremendous role for Airmore to have been gotten 2 of these. And these are going to be useful for us. I think we just kind of glossed over it, but this is going to be a knight that is very nice in terms of receiving our Bless. They are going to have 18 defense. We have Blur, and we have Blood Surge, and we also have -4, or we have 4 Reinvigoration. So these guys, they will have 0 encumbrance effectively once they are blessed. Their defense effectively will go to 20 via the Blur, and 21 if they get the Blood Surge. And Blood Surge kind of pairs nicely with a Lance, where you can get the initial damage down, and then you get the plus strength, plus attack, and you can kind of keep going. And it's an okay-ish Bless. For this like cavalry unit specifically, it's like really good on our mages, but we currently can't really recruit very many sacreds, and so now we've just doubled the amount of sacreds we can get. But I think we're throttled by how much Dominion we have here, or we need friendly Dominion. I'm not exactly sure. If it's limited just by how much, what our Dominion score is, our Dominion score is quite high. And if that's the case, we may even want to build a fort here rather than leaving it such that we could naked, so that we could build these guys just so that we can get more of the Jade Maidens. But we'll see. I think that's going to be turn for us. Maybe a little bit of a spineless move here, because we can take Baptizer right now very, very easily, and that's kind of the bigger idea. Is we have the water breathing manual, and we can just kind of surge forward. And our army's going to be here, and we don't think Atlantis is conspiring against us anymore, so the idea of just pushing into Atlantis, now it's just this awkward, our army's all right here, what do we do? And it's probably fight Roos, but we'll kick that can down the road at least one turn. Alright, so a couple things. We had a chat with Atlantis, do feel pretty good about our situation with them, and now we are exchanging some gems, sending them 50 water gems. We have a huge glut of them, and so I think that this will be pretty solid for us. If this goes off without a hitch, we'll probably try and do it again next turn. If there is a significant hitch, I think we would try and fight Atlantis, but I don't think that that's going to be what happens. Like, if they just sent us nothing, we would have some words over this. And then we also send a message to Roos, decide to make it a little bit, seek clarity at a little bit of a faster pace, and let him know exactly where we're at. And also kind of try and figure out exactly where they're at. We won't attack anything of his. We'll just wait to see if he attacks. This next turn, he is already going to have his orders in before he gets the message. So we don't care if he attacks Relothia or the Verdant Steppe this next turn. But the following turn, if he attacks anything that we said that we wanted, we will have a little bit of a rumble with him. And I'm expecting for him to just tell us to shove it, because I think from his perspective, he's been fighting Airmore and he's about to claim the prize, he's gained momentum, and now we just pop up out of nowhere, and this is annoying, and we're just asking for basically all the Airmorian provinces. I anticipate he tells us to shove it. And so what this is a little bit of a Hail Mary that is relatively terse, because I want him to if he is of the feeling of telling us to shove it, I want him to just tell us that, and we disambiguate the situation, and if we get our best case scenario, then that's great. And the best case scenario is Roos says, yep, that sounds good to me, I'll take Y Spring Grove, Elkland, Summeridge, and then head back the other way, and then we say great, and we ask Atlantis if we can pass through here, and we just attack Xibalba on 3 sides with quite a bit of troops, and just really get to bring all the pressure and try and full eliminate players rather than starting wars on 2 fronts. I think that there's not like a path for us to like kill Roos in like 3 turns or 4 turns or something like this. This would be a long, protracted effort, even though we can make inroads very, very quickly, and we have tools. Don't really want to go for that. Don't want to cede a bunch of the Airmore provinces and just say, hey, you know what, you can have all the way to Ripewoods and Airmore. We'll take everything else, because we have an enormous army here. That army's an investment. We want to return, and I'm pretty sure we would just smack the bejesus out of his army. But we don't want to attrition into him in this way, really. And so I think that this is a little bit of an improvement, but kind of just maybe an interesting way to think through it is like, we think we win, but we still kind of don't want to fight, just on the principle of like trying to eliminate players entirely. That way, because if we start fighting Roos and this starts to take a long time, as long as we are fighting someone else, we have a vulnerability to getting additional people added on to fighting us. Like, maybe Lanka decides to drop the peace deal. I think they're going to be a little bit busy with Yomi, and that's the hope. But maybe Lanka starts attacking us. And now the fact that we have a big army doesn't matter, because we would have to split the army in half, right? Now our army's not bigger than Roos's because it's split in half, and this type of thing. And so would prefer to do this. Also, don't really want this extra war, but I think I'd be open to giving up Rolothia. I think we do want the pathway over there. And so, with that in mind, or I guess we'd be okay giving up Verdant Steppes if we got Y Spring Grove. But we also want Emmerich so that we can get these guys out. So, some stuff going on, a little bit of development. Alright, so turn 41 here, continuing our war with Airmore, but don't have a battle with Airmore. Relatively quiet turn. We do get gems from Atlantis. We sent 50 water gems their way. Straight across trade, kind of had a glut of water gems. While we can use them, and we do use them, we don't have a way to use that many water gems. So do send some over and get some in return. Have several summons coming through. These summons are going to kind of ramp up this next turn, because this is the turn before we are going to strike out at the second forest. Or this is the plan. We still could maybe pump the brakes a little bit. We are going to be taking Packwoods as a bit of a setup, and we have some other setup as well, which is we are setting up to attack a Xibalba next turn. We are also hiring 2 Mercs in the Nether, Istance's Warriors and Struma's Freaks. Gonna put these guys at the front and want just a really, really big stack here. 1, so we can take these guys quicker if, have more siege strength if they don't defend it, but 2, really trying to get them to pull off from Mighty Pillars, and trying to have it look spooky. Because we are setting up having a squad that can fly out from here. If he has a scout in here, then he's going to see kind of our flying shenanigans, but if he doesn't, he might think that the Mighty Pillars is safe. So, kind of talk through, I think, this a little bit. We also do search over here in Feral Woods, and we find another source of Death Gem income and also some Astral income. So, going to be pretty nice for us. We are going to, with our Pretender, forge a booster for Death, the Skull staff, and this is going to be nice, and we're going to use this to be able to search sites a little bit better. Really not getting very lucky with these site searching at all, as it relates to our non-primary paths, either with the Glamour guy or I guess it's the glamour guy mostly, but also not getting successful with the death guys too. Yeah, and the astral guy. So really not getting kind of what we want. We do have this battle in Relothia. Airmore's phoning it in. Airmore is not scripting anything. He didn't withdraw these guys when it was apparent that they were like really exposed, and he just lets the mages die. The script also doesn't look too crazy from these guys. He does leave 2 mages behind, so he only has 2 mages here, leaves the rest behind, attacks with most of the guys, but there's nothing here to really defend with, so obviously they're going to run forward. And this was scripted before we told him what we wanted. I am guessing he tells us to shove it this next turn, and we get news of him telling us to shove it from Roos, because we said we want these 3 provinces, or these 2 provinces and everything east of that, which I imagine he's not amenable to. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be moving to Emmerich following this battle, and this is kind of throwing away a lot of gems worth of guys maybe for a timing window, but we're moving in with a Sorgina, 2 Gentils, and Lucan, who is our handy-dandy commander with a crossbow. He's a man with a plan. And we have less troops than him, slightly. Let's see, 43, 53... We don't even have less troops. We have more troops than him. If he decides to go in on Emmerich, we are pretty okay with this. I think that the Gentils will clean up. And then Ripewoods is going to be safe. And so us pausing for 1 turn really like allows us to set up a turn like this, because Ripewoods has like 50 guys coming in this turn with 40 giants and 10 undisciplined guys and back. And then like another 90 guys coming in from across the sea. And so either one of these forces, I think, beats this force, and so we have it in okay shape. We have made sure to kind of set up some stuff. I guess maybe we want Strength of Gaia on her. I don't think it's necessary for this. She'll just be casting Enlarge, basically, on this guy, and this guy can get in, and then this guy can also get in. Maybe we should have a couple Enlarges instead of the Strength of Gaia. We'll just add another Enlarge here. Pressing N to filter and put in Enlarge. So she'll hopefully cast it on some good people, the biggest people, which is the goal. And we have a couple priests here and a couple of these guys who are going to get a lot more useful really shortly. And they're going to get a lot more useful in 2 turns when we get Conjuration 5. I think we're going to go for it. We could also go for Evocation 4, which would also make them useful. Useful if we're wanting to spend gems, because Conj 5 is going to give us Summon Earth Elemental, and we'll probably be using them to summon an Earth Elemental. Or, if we go Evocation, we get access to Blade Wind. And we have a couple of this with our squad that is downstairs as well. We have a couple of these guys. We did give them gems and put them on don't use that much gems or conservative gem usage, but this is just in case we want to in the future use some gems. Actually, let's give her a couple air gems as well, and also put her on conservative gem usage. That way we can have a few with us. We are also recruiting a scout out of here, whose only job is going to be to hold gems for this army that we have kind of working up over here. We also have these guys, or this guy coming through. He... a little bit messy. Here we're going to give him 4 nature gems. I think that we don't have a script set up quite yet, so we will set it up. Yeah, he doesn't have a script set up. We'll set that up. But we are going to have a Gentil, one of these guys, Tomeo, and a couple of these shamans with 2 earth, which I think is going to be pretty solid, heading up on the Abyss. And we also have, I think we showed off this squad, 58 units coming in, but then we're also hiring the 2 Merc squads, hopefully. And so this is kind of what we have going on downstairs. But continuing on with what we have with here, we have the Second Forest, which is going to be a bit of a vibe. So we just wanted to see what was here, and hopefully we don't roll a whole ton of stuff. And really, unfortunately, this guy tries to run, but he's just going to get bopped. Womp. Really unfortunate they have this many flyers. And this isn't even all their flyers. They also have griffins. Oh wait, where'd the griffins go? Griffins are still up in the air, I guess. These guys just landed first. Okay, they have a bunch of griffins as well. Ton of flyers. These flyers aren't poison resistant. Oh wait, these ones are. Oh my god. What a world, what a world. Spear form, poison resistant. Not a lot of HP, but ethereal means that we're going to have to hit them several times, except with our magic weapon stuff. But if the commanders die, then we will be able to take them out. Zeus has 90 HP, and so what we're probably going to do is set up for 3 gentles to just come in and try and thwack Zeus and the other 2 commanders here. These guys probably won't get to us. We're going to set up as far back as possible, but it is unfortunate to see this many flyers, so kind of a little bit spooked about that. And to that end, we are summoning, like, all hands on deck. This guy who we hired, Vineman, this guy, Vine Ogres. We are doing Clockwork Soldiers. We are doing another Crusher here. The Crusher is a unit that we've kind of used a little bit, but haven't really gotten to showcase it in battle. They are notably Pierce and Slash resistant, but not lightning resistant, so those Hawks doing lightning damage will be a little bit annoying. Not sure exactly what they're going to get caught in on. We have a couple more cubes coming in. We have this guy sneaking in with 2 cubes. He's going to be a raiding party with a couple of cubes, as are the Atavi. We have 1 party from there, and we have another party from there, so just prepping. We're going to go for Goal or Mod the same turn we go for Second Forest. We have some more troops coming in from Great Cenote, but what we've done is, with our Dragon Crown, giving us Dragon Mastery, which is quite nice, we can summon Drakes a little bit better, and something that counts as a Drake is going to be a Wyvern. And so that's going to be quite nice. I think that they might have even had Wyverns in here. No, they had Griffins. Well, Wyverns specifically do have lightning resistance, so they'll be better against these Spirit Hawks. We maybe set the Wyverns on attack flyers, but they'll also have poison resistance. And our plan is to cast Foul Vapors, and Foul Vapors the majority of the army, and we could kill the Icarids that way. But I think it's going to be mainly trying to hold on and kill the backline. I unfortunately don't know if we're just supposed to go in with 3 gentles alone and try and figure it out, or if we're supposed to try and do kind of this big party stuff. But we've made our bed. Now we have to eat it. I think we're going to be using the Vinemen. We have 50 of them. They are poison resistant. And so we're going to use them kind of close to the back, use them to try and soak damage. Same with the Vine Ogres, same with these guys, soak damage for long enough for our Gentles to get in, and then have a reasonable sized squad there. So that's kind of what we're doing in the Second Forest. Get a couple of events. We have Ulm and Yellow Caves, do a little bit of patrolling, and of course, the Druid was successful. We repeated this turn twice because we we intentionally gave the Druid the Ivy Crown so that he could summon more guys, forgetting that we can't pull it off of him when we do that, so we had to repeat the turn. So that's why some of our scripts aren't correct. But I do think we're pretty well set up for the subsequent turn. Going to be getting 3 additional provinces worth of income next turn as well. You can see our income went up from the new provinces that we had acquired, despite the fact that our extra order is wearing off. And next turn, we are going to be grabbing, or I guess we won't get the income until the following turn. Packwoods income, and then Greater Wild income will be linked up once we take this province, which I think we will be successful. Also very curious to see how Roos does things. He didn't have that extensive a script during his assault on Summer Edge, which we saw, and he didn't have that extensive a script here. So, and there's no gems on his guys, so I think that this maybe is a little bit of a soft target for us, and maybe we don't even want to be able to pass through here. Like, maybe we just want him to tell us to shove it. But if we do, we can just drop our god right here, or something like this, or do some mage shenanigans and try and wipe this army and then push. That does allow us to conceal going for a throne. And this part specifically is very, very attractive. I just don't know how much Dominion he has, and if we drop this, it has a 31 prot, but if we drop it in a spot where we have like where he has like 9 Dominion or 10 Dominion, I don't feel comfortable with us having 10 or 20 HP or something like this. and dropping our god there, because random stuff could happen and then we just lose the god. So we kind of have to know what exactly is there. But we can script something very, very powerful with this guy, and he's just going to come in and Foul Vapors and be able to clear out thrones pretty well. Also, he hasn't picked up this, which is another reason why, and this is also free. I don't know exactly what's going on here. Let's actually see what's there. We kind of have these scouts just sitting about to watch borders to see when conflicts begin. And we have a whole ton of scouts coming in on Xibalba, where we will have enough scouts to put them on every single one of their locations. And so this is going to be valuable for us. I think we'll move this guy back in a little bit as well, because we have another scout coming through here to sit in this province. So we'll very soon have some information. Before we start this turn, we actually thought about just letting Mighty Pillars finish, and we still might just let Mighty Pillars finish, just because we're committing so many gems worth of items and guys to try and stop Mighty Pillars, that I don't know if risking this much stuff is worth the gems. But if we pull it off, it'll feel pretty good, and I also don't know how risky it is. I don't know what tools he could have other than his god to try and deal with us, but he can't assassinate. He can't assassinate in the province we're going into, and so leaves him with a little bit of a rough spot. We also could just grab this and get the push from the throne. What the throne we're thinking is I do believe, since there's like a Zeus there, it's going to be one of the tier 3 thrones. Really kind of hoping that it's either the Throne of Time, which I think this is the one we want most, which gets magic +1, allows to research a whole lot more, and then also commander recruitment points plus 100%, just so we can recruit more and more commanders. And then Throne of Sorcery, I think the Thaumaturgy bonus and the extra magic, I think is pretty nice. Increases magic by a maximum of 2, so this doesn't increase our dominion. Actually, I guess Eternal Suffering is probably better. Getting Order and Productivity 1 at the expense of one of our fortune is probably worth it, and Morale 2 on our Sacreds. Gonna be really nice, especially because one of the ways in which we can kind of get hurt with our Sacred thugs is through various morale check type effects, and as they get really, really high morale, then we don't have to worry about that, and we just have to worry about magic resist. The Crystal Throne, or sorry, the one, the Iron Throne is also the one that we would be trying to pounce on top of, which allows recruitment of these guys, which would be quite nice for breaking into Astral, and 25% to roll fire, so we would be able to break into fire. However, if we grab this throne and this throne, we'll probably be a little bit too spooky. So there was an additional battle here, and that was Yomi's battle. Haven't taken a look at this yet, but we do want to keep track with what Yomi's doing and what his gear looks like, just in case we have to fight him. Looks like he has a helmet. I think that they start with just the regular samurai armor and no helmet, and so this is a little worse for wear in terms of what he has going on. This guy is just here to bless. We have 2 blesses coming in. I guess he's just making sure that the Oni is blessed, but this is probably gratuitous on the bless. Summon Earth Power on the script, and then I think he's just going to have kind of some standard buffs, but we're curious what they are. Invulnerability. Oh, very interesting. Did this high roll into... I don't think they always have Death 3. Okay, so he's Invulnerability. I think that's Enchantment Path. And then he's just going to spam spells. This is what we've seen out of his guys so far, is just the spamming of spells. Do have Unholy Weapons if anything gets in on him. Looks like he does have Lightning Reflexes for extra defense skill. Wow, 22. That's not really exactly what you want, because if he gets put in on, he's going to get swamped. And, okay, the Vine Men will be going down here. And we do want some of these guys ourselves, but nothing too crazy. He's on Fireball and then advanced to cast spells, it looks like. That makes some sense. Very ragtag group that he has kind of concocted up here with just a bunch of militia. I don't like that. We are sending him a lot of resources with the hope that he's going to trade efficiently. And to that end, let's kind of go over that. We are sending him a Storm Spool, 10 Death Gems, 100 gold, because we kind of got squeezed on the gold. We're sending a Snake Rig to Atlantis, who agreed to pay us 7 air gems for poison resist items. And then Ring of Tamed Lightning, and then we send him a message. No, we don't want to retract it. I wish it was the other way around. Traded for some death gems last turn, Godspeed, because that's what he wanted, and we didn't have very many of those. We're at 2, but our income is 50% higher than the turn before. We are not forging any poison resistance items this turn. We're kind of a little bit squeezed on our turn. We really hope that... we've seen like half as much guys. We really hope we don't like run into 470. A little bit nervous about this for next turn, but I don't, we just, where's this guy? Wait a second. He doesn't have enough magic to, we just, that's insane. He doesn't have enough magical leadership to lead the 50 guys that he came with, so we just got 40 Vinemen for some gold, which is a fantastic rate for us. Do they have any upkeep? No, they don't. Wow, that's spectacular. That is spectacular for us. We might not even need to rehire this guy, but we'll put his Vinemen in the very front so that they can die first, but that's super good for us. It's so silly. Okay, so I think we'll have close to 100 troops. We may even take the Mouflon with us, just to let them soak some damage, but we do want to be careful of leaving ourselves vulnerable to routing as a consequence of this. We could also just delay it a turn and just take Packwoods, but then it'll be very awkward in the Abyss, and also we won't be able to stop the fort from being constructed. Really do wish we had more time. If we had more time, we could also just spread out our raiding squads a little bit before everything starts, instead of just having them go into Goal Armad, and then spread out afterwards, moving them up to like here in Furia, and also down to here, this type of thing, and just trying to be as obnoxious as possible. As far as the map goes, somehow Atlantis sloughed off those 700 troops, which I don't know how that happened. I'm kind of curious. I don't think there's a way for us to really figure this out. We could go into Blue Moss and see just how many is left, but was thinking that things were maybe looking a little spooky for Atlantis, but maybe not, and maybe Atlantis starts to push here, which would create a little bit of an interesting environment. What we are going to be careful about is Atlantis taking this throne is a little bit obnoxious, because that is one of the thrones we can go for going for the win. But I think that it's starting to shape up that we're going for this throne, and this throne, and these 2 thrones, and this will be a little bit more straightforward, especially if we get into a conflict with Roos that seems reasonable. Dropping our god into here and starting to do some stuff might actually be decent, just to like really kind of be a huge pain. Just, it's gonna leave us very, very vulnerable. I would be curious to see if Roos has any sort of items, great swords of sharpness, I do believe we are not resistant to, what is it, club damage, or smashing damage, or whatever it's called, and so I guess we could also just check his troops, and like, this is more of a research thing, is, are we in trouble from him having units that are, bashing damage, and maybe not. We could check his entire retinue and this type of thing. In the short term, it might make more sense to just go for this, and then start to be obnoxious down here. Something like this. Anyways, we'll figure this out, but I think that this is going to be this turn relatively quiet, just kind of prepping for next turn. Oh, one more thing. We did spend... in terms of our spend down, here's kind of the breakdown. Spending quite a bit on mercs, still spending the lion's share on new commanders, but we spent 44 gold on province defense. We are starting to shore up a few areas. With 11 province defense, you avoid a lot of negative events, and our Throne of Law has brought a bunch of places to 10, so what we're going to do is the 2 entrances that feel pretty secured, which is Great Cenote and Ulm, we are going to bring up to 15 province defense in the near future, along with Pelea and Feral Woods. And the reason we are doing this is at 15, we will get some amount of patrolling, so they can't just park a scout there for forever, as we have done in a bunch of locations. in order to gain information. So, like, if Wickerwoods had 15, eventually the scout gets bopped. And just try and information deny, because we're really big. I don't think people realize how big we are. And we're, like, coalitionable. After this next turn, if our attacks go off just fine, I think we have 41 provinces. And this is quite strong. Don't want to get coalitioned. Still have to be a little bit careful about Atlantis. Also, have to be on the lookout for Atlantis trying to stop us from... We have to, like, proactively and consciously think about ways in which Atlantis can stymie us going for the win as well. And one of the things we might do is build a fort here and here. Because with forts here, it's harder for him to push into Second Forest. As we try and get Witch's Copes. Really wish that also Therados wasn't here. Because Therados is going to see all this. That we are getting kind of two thrones. So is Xibalba, but Xibalba is less likely to be able to rally everyone against us because Xibalba is the one getting attacked. Or at least this is kind of the way I look at it. Anyways, a little bit of a kind of nice quiet turn. We'll be back with some violence next turn. Oh, we do get very lucky here as well. Just wanted to point this out. We rolled a Gentil with 2 nature, put a Thistle Mace on him, and now he is forging up a Cornucopia, which is going to, in the long term, allow us to conserve some gems. We're forging it for 11. It's going to give us 2 temporary gems every time, and so after 5 times in combat, it will have paid for itself. So that'll be nice as well. But also, we have a Gentil that can, without a Thistle Mace, every turn forge a Homunculus. Which is going to be nice, but these 10 cost items, we're not anywhere near as efficient on, and to some extent, this makes us kind of want to go for construction. Well, not this, but just the general play pattern of those 10s being more expensive makes us want to go for something like Forge of the Ancients. So far, no one's cast a global. I think the global will put a target on our back a little bit, so a little bit leery about doing it, but we would have to conserve some Earth Gems anyways. But I think after this Crusher, we're probably not spending a lot of Earth Gems per turn, so we maybe can try and do something like that. In terms of long-term, we're probably after Conjuration, going for Evocation, and then we'll have a little bit of a think as to what we go for. Something that's worth noting regarding the globals, though, is that, I don't even think we've mentioned this once, Riches of Beneath would give us a lot more income, and is something that we could cast. And with that type of thing, we could maybe be seeing like 6,000 to 7,000 turn income a turn, at which point we will become very, very potent. Also, I think we've mentioned it, but Yomi, as a nation, gets minus 25% income, so us slinging him that income is effectively like worth 33% more, because that's normally a bit of an issue for them. Alright, so this is not as good as we thought it was. These guys are stuck. All these Vine Men. And it happens when we set this guy to cast Awaken Vineman, it just resets his whole shindig. If we redo the turn from scratch, which, you know, has its own, this is annoying type of thing, because we have to redo the entire turn, it does undo this. Let's see if we can just set him to research. And if that doesn't break his order. Alright, so if we want to have the 50 Vinemen and actually be able to utilize them, because we can't assign them to an army in that past configuration, looks like we can't have him summon Vinemen. So he'll just do a little bit of research. Alright. Alright, so we have a big turn in terms of prep. We get some air gems from Yomi. We have been sending Yomi, I think, quite a bit more value than the 20 air gems, but we were content to sling it to them for free. But we were kind of under the impression that Yomi was on the ropes. Yomi started to build a fort here. And so I think that, see, a fortification is now under construction. I think that we're just going to stop slinging Yomi. I think Yomi's kind of fine. And if Yomi starts to get pushed again, we'll start re-slinging him. But this is kind of part of the strategy, or part of the idea here, is that we just don't want Yomi to get killed. We don't actually want Yomi to be 30 and flirty and thriving, or whatever the expression is. So we are going to be there. We do finish enchantment. Was actually kind of tempted to not do Foul Vapors and instead just try and jump the backline here. but we do have our foul vapors prepped, as well as a whole lot of stuff prepped for this army. You can see that we have a configuration. We've tried to make it so that we have somewhat minimal surface area with all of our commanders in the beginning or in the middle, because we are going to get jumped. And this is including commanders that we know are coming in, that are flying in from Great Cenote. You can see here, this configuration will line up quite nicely. Commanders get priority, so they will push the other guys out of the way. And in here, we have a bunch of our commanders, and kind of a script for a bunch of our guys. So we have one guy stone skinning everyone up, just going to try and keep everyone alive. We have her, who is going to just cast Foul Vapors and then summon Earth Power, and then let's actually have her wait for one turn. That way she doesn't get ahead of everyone. We'll just do hold or cast a spell. And I think she'll just hold because she'll be too fatigued anyways, because Foul Vapors is quite a big fatigue cast, but this will give poison clouds all over the battlefield. We have, let's reselect the army so that we show everyone who is currently heading out. We have this guy who's just going to cast Body Ethereal several times. He should hit the Gentles. In particular, we've taken the effort to make sure the Crushers are really far away from everyone, because the Crushers have a lot of life, and otherwise they will be the target. But, you know, a Body Ethereal up Crusher is kind of okay too. This guy is just casting Blessing a whole bunch, but he has to come in with this because he is leading the Vineman. We have a shorter script. We have a shorter script because I think the way that, and this is one of the reasons why we thought about bringing more guys and not doing a Foul Vapors type thing. He's got a shorter script because I think the way we win this is actually just by going after the rear, as one does. And so he's just casting Temper Armors, trying to get it on everyone, and then Quicken Self and Attack Rear. So Summon Earth Power, Quicken Self, Attack Rear are the three that we're looking for on our script. This guy is just casting Group Regeneration. I'm hoping that this hits the 3 Gentles, specifically because the Gentles are not casting Regeneration. Things might go sideways if it doesn't correctly hit everyone. But then we have this squad coming in as well, where we have Misform casting a whole bunch, Thunder Ward, because they have lightning stuff, and because we know that Zeus is in the backline, so Zeus is actually going to hurt our guys quite a bit. I think that's... Here, let's copy this and paste this. Just a little bit of Quicken Self, Moss Body, and then get in there. I do think that we have one guy in here, and we somehow skipped over it, but he's casting Poison Ward, unless we accidentally didn't get the guy in there. I do think... Where's our Poison Ward guy? Could have sworn we had someone casting Poison Ward. Ah, this guy. Yeah, he should be part of the squad. He is part of the squad. He's casting Strength of Gaia, Poison Ward, and then Enlarge a few times, and he'll just advance and cast spells. So we're hoping that the combination of Enlarge, Stone Skin, Regeneration on everyone just keeps everyone healthy, to give time for both the Foul Vapors to work their magic and the Gentles in the backline to work their magic. Hoping to not attrition too much, but if we attrition a little bit, so be it. So this is the first really big squad that we have coming in. We also have these guys sneaking through, just a couple of cubes looking to attack closest, and these Atavi to fire closest. I think that this will actually do good against the Jabalban regular troops too, and this might be a decent army in its own right. Has very significant morale issues, and is going to rout very easily if it faces anything stiff, but okay. And we have this squad just going deeper. I think that... I think that we might pull in a little bit more of a bodyguard here as well. He does have assassins, but also jumping the backline. But this should also be straightforward. It should just be into 6 PD. This is going to be the first turn we're attacking Jabalba. And then, as you can see, all the scouts are coming through. We are getting very close to having a scout on every single one of his locations. I think that we actually do want to know what's in Jabalba proper. And so we'll kind of change that up a little bit. Normally, we don't want to park a guy on Jabalba for an extended period of time, because eventually Jabalba, if it's not been sieged before, is going to have 25 province defense, and that guy will get found out. Now, below ground, we have this other squad. Unfortunately, I did a dum-dum, and I didn't give this guy the gems that he needed. Unfortunately. And this is a merc, so we can't take their gems. So this guy's not going to have regeneration. Yikes. We do have a couple of guys coming in with the gems, and we did it between a couple of guys who are sneaking in with the gems, just in case something weird happens, one gets assassinated, this type of thing. We'll try and spread out the gems if we can, but they will be heading to the Abyss. We probably will wait for the gems before trying to siege the Abyss, but this means that we might have one turn that's a little bit rough. Might be a sacrificial lamb type of force, which is funny because this is our largest force in terms of just raw units. It's got 324 siege strength. I know my head does block it. It's got 200 units, but these are bad units. The foul spawn, they give a lot of siege strength. The mercs that we've kind of put in, and you know, these units of ours are pretty good. We still also have this formation that we had done before to keep the gentle safe for doing a script. We still have this with the clockworks and back, and so hopefully if he does jump the back line, we see them kind of spread out on the clockworks, and then the cave cows do not immediately get murked, and then the hunters and cave cows combined can go after them. Kind of wish we just didn't use hunters with the nets and instead just went after the guys with the clubs with the 22 damage and throw stones. I think throw stones kind of does okay here. And we could recruit more of these. I think we're just going to try and float some gold for ourselves this turn and not spend it just in case things go a little bit sideways. But that is kind of what we have in on Jabalba. I wish we had more. I wish we were hitting more than just 3 provinces. I think hitting a lot simultaneously is really good, but I kind of suspect he doesn't have a lot of troops because we've just seen more and more greed. He's upgrading these palisades, he's building this fort, he just upgraded this and he just built this. I don't think he's got a lot of units. I think there's no way he is supporting a bunch of units with his gold and having enough to do all this, so we're hoping to cancel 1,800 gold worth of stuff, cancel the upgrade in the Abyss, cancel the fort construction here, and so that'll be pretty good for us if it goes through. We do have research and enchantment completed, and we have not enough research. Oh no, not enough research to finish conjuration. I don't think we want to try and figure out a way to rake back 30 research. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go evocation next. Because we can complete it and then go Conjuration 5. Evocation, we have the easy complete. That's fine and well enough, and okay. We do a bunch of summons, these come through, and we find a few magical sites. Little Grove of Fertility, Canyon of Winds, nice, 2 air gems. So now we're going to have just a kind of glut of air gems. We spent a ton of nature gems this turn with a lot of our scripts and stuff, but also population growth 0.2. It's going to be kind of okay. Not the best terrain bonus, so Titan's Breath Peaks will never be insane, but fair enough. And only Envoy. Round of applause, everyone. He finally found something. After spending like the last 20 turns looking for stuff, he's finally found something. 1 water gem. Alright. Okay. And I think that's all we found. Obscuro is obscuring his job and hasn't found anything yet. We do get Emmerich just immediately, and that kind of brings us over here. There's no battle required, so he doesn't know what our script is, he doesn't know what we're about, and everyone knows you need to not just talk about it, but be about it. And by being about it, I mean we're bringing in a bunch of extra guys. We are bringing in these 3 mages, or not 3 mages, these 3, mainly troops, but a few mages. We took a little time to kind of look over. We actually maybe want to bring 1 more mage. Here, let's see. Can this guy... Okay, this guy can make the gap in 1 turn, so if we need him next turn, he can do that. These guys I don't think have enough move speed. Ooh, they do have enough move speed. They do have enough run fast. Well, we don't have any quills left, so we can't possibly do the research. But if these guys have the movement... Okay, let's put them on research instead. But, something we wanted to kind of comment on a little bit was, I think the way forward for beating Roos is Stone Skin. He is just spamming these 2 units. The Chud Skin Shifter and the Chud Berserker. And these guys, not really Chud-like, they're more Chad-like. They... Okay, the Chud Berserker gets 2 attacks, so they're going to have 6 attacks a square, because it's still size 3. And these attacks are for very decent damage. Now, he doesn't have a lot of defense, and the protection's relatively low. So he's squishy, but this 6 attacks a square. So these guys are like glass cannons, and there's maybe a strategy where we're like trying to fatigue out guys, but I think they die before they fatigue. And really kind of the way that we want to play it is we have Bebrick's Guard, among other things, but I think the majority of our units are Bebrick's Guard. Let's... Excuse me. We want to find Pyrene units, and apparently it's not showing the Bebrick's Guard. There we go. This is kind of what we're working with, or a slightly worse version of this with our just Beckride heavy infantry. And these guys have decent protection, and they have decent defense, and our Bless gives them more defense, which is offset because he has a Bless that gives him +2 attack. And so he'll hit a decent amount of the time. But if we Stone Skin up and get up to 21 protection or this type of stuff, we don't need actually any help killing them. 18 damage, as long as we're hitting them, and we have kind of decent attack skill, and we'll hit them some of the time because it's similar defense. He's got +1 defense on his Bless, but okay. As long as we survive, we should eventually take him out. His units are definitely better than ours. Than the Bebrick's Guard, but the Bebrick's Guard is way cheaper, so the goal is to trade up. And I think that we're in pretty good shape for doing that if we can keep our guys alive, and so just going for protection. Notably, extra defense won't be that helpful because we'll get harassed down because they have more attacks. 6 attacks square is going to be rough, but he also doesn't really have very good mage support from what we've seen, so a little bit less concerned on that front. But we're bringing in another 130 guys. We could bring in a little bit more with some of these undisciplined guys. I think that what we're going to do is maybe send them the other way. We're also going after Baptizer, and we're casting Call of the Wild on this province here, looking to cause some issues. Roos, we said we wanted Verdant Steppe and Velotia. We gave him a chance to comply. He's not interested. Fair enough. And so we're going to kind of get some stuff done. I think we're actually going to make a little bit of an adjustment. Oh, we already made it. And we're going to go for starting to get a bunch of Myru over here and use this to pump Myru over into this direction. This is the only other province we can recruit the Myru out of. I think that these guys will also do okay against Chuds. And I think that for us to pay for a square, it's 55 gold with a Bebrick's Guard and one of these guys. And these guys bring the pain, but they'll die very quickly. Actually, these guys kind of probably will die pretty quick to the Chuds. Maybe these guys aren't even very good for us. The thing is, they one-shot. They won't one-shot the Berserker, or they'll one-shot the Berserkers, because the Berserkers have a lot of life, and our Bebrick's Guard aren't going to be very good at one-shotting. I think it's probably okay. If nothing else, they give a lot of siege strength, and I still like the idea of having one of these and a Bebrick's Guard in the same square at the same time. And they can reinforce really fast, and we can recruit them fast. As long as we have gold, we can bring more power to bear with these guys faster, and I think we're interested in that. We know he has about 90 or so guys here, and so we have, in our army here, we have 100 guys coming over. We have 130 supporting, so we're going to have about 230 guys, and he's going to have a similar amount, but his guys are better. But we have mages and we have gentles that are caked out in gear, and I think we're just going to jump the backline and murder him. And that's going to be next turn. Also, in here, doing a good old Mouflin attack where, okay, if he moves on to Relothia, this is bad for us. He's been playing really straightforward. He's not been messaging. And I'm expecting him just to group up in the Verdant Steppe and get ready to assault the fort, especially because we haven't attacked him yet. He might just think everything's okay, we're trying to negotiate, he's ignoring us, which is kind of for us a signal that we should just attack him. And so we'll look to just chip this off, and if he snipes that force, he snipes that force, and it's not that big a deal, because it's just a bunch of Mouflins. Was also... here's our spend for the turn. We did bring up a few province defenses to 15, like this one here. I think we did it with 2. I forget where the other one was. Did we maybe do Deep Waygart? No, just looking to float the rest of the gold, but wanted to just point something out. Was looking through kind kind of the maintenance cost on some of our stuff. Some of the bigger line items. Also counting how many mages we had. I think we had like 30 or 40 mages, something like this. 17 Tartalos. That's a lot of Tartalos. We made a point about getting these guys early, and they have been accumulating. We have over 300 great movements. And these guys give a lot of siege strength. And so we're not bringing the Mouflins in as quickly as possible. You can see these guys are just hanging out. But once we get a siege, and the siege is good, these guys, 2.6 siege strength. So in terms of just siege strength, which isn't normally how we just view units, we have 750 siege strength worth of free spawn Mouflins. Now, we've kind of spent some time, and I think we might have slowed down our research a little bit by recruiting all these Tartalo. And so that's a factor. Oh man, after a little bit of clicking around, we're actually so close to being able to finish Conjuration instead. I think we still, like, Evocation 4 is still kind of pretty good for us anyways. Oh, I kind of want to try and see if we can make that work, though. Let's not. Okay. Or we'll take another, like, look at it. This type of thing. So, we also had a battle in Amul. This is the throne. So, we also get more insight, which is, I think he is, in all instances, just using warriors and berserkers. But this is a hero of his, right here, that laid down a few blessings, and is going to do really well against this. And we can get a little bit of a look-see at kind of how these chuds work, but they kill stuff real fast, and this stuff has 11 protection. So actually, maybe we need to be a little bit more worried. These guys have Enchanted Blood, so they're recovering life, and they have Blood Surge active, and they have a little bit of strength and attack. 19 strength, 19 attack. Ugh. They are very squishy. Except for they've got Shapeshifter for the Skin Shifter, where they get an additional, like, 44 life. And so that's going to be good. Oh, these are Chud Warriors, not Berserkers. So these Chud Warriors are just kind of whatever. But we're gonna see the Shapeshifters are gonna be the things that kill everything. And the Shapeshifters are actually mildly spooky. 36 damage is actually enough to... 36 damage is enough to damage our thugs. So we're really going to want regeneration on the thugs. And maybe we even want the Eye Vengeance shield or this type of thing. We're still trying to jump the backline, and I'm not sure he's going to have an immediate answer to jumping the backline. But long term, we do have to be concerned about this is a unit that can hurt a super combatant type guy, which is kind of one of the strengths we're leaning into. So we do have to be careful, and would prefer to, like, try and outmaneuver. But a very good battle for him. There's battle in Packwoods for us. First time taking a province in some time. But this is kind of a whatever thing where we get an enchantment in, and our Sinos get in, and they clear out. The Chud Berserker, incidentally, we've talked a little bit about Sinos earlier. A Chud Berserker is kind of just like a better version of a Sino, where the Sinos are spooky because they get 2 attacks, but they're size 4, so you can only have 2 a square. Well, Chud Berserker is basically the same, except for they get 3 in a square. But okay, we overcome in there. And then we have the Battle in Verdant Steppes, which this is just the Chud boys overcoming some PD, but we do get an idea of what we're working with, which is 26 Skin Shifters and 72 Warriors. There's like an uprising against them, but nothing happens, just gives them more experienced. We get an event in Olifa, which curses some guys, but nobody too important. We do put the skull that we forged last turn with our Pretender on this guy, so now we're going to start searching to death sites. And hopefully we get something done. I think that next turn we're going to look to empower a Gentle and Fire, and then start making items. And then we do have the construction and Hot Hollows finished. This is going to be nice. We're going to recruit units out of it. It doesn't really have very many resources, so can't recruit that many units. Actually, let's change this up. I think we want... we have a lot of recruit points, actually. Can we just do this? I'm not sure we want those units. I think in general, like, just slowly kind of accumulating these guys is kind of okay. So let's just do this. And then we get the 2 guys bought and paid for the mercs. And so that's kind of our turn. We are floating a bit of gold. We haven't been doing that in the past. I'm not sure exactly what we'll want to do, and we might want to build multiple pieces of infrastructure here this next turn. Something that we made sure to do is one of our scouts that's bringing gems up, we gave him a flying carpet. He has a lot of gems, so we will want to distribute these next turn. I don't think he can get assassinated this turn, because I don't think that we're going to see an assassin, or he could get assassinated in here. I believe assassinations go through before moves, but we want the flying carpet, and we want to not show the flying carpet, so we're putting it in on our scout. Because from the second forest, with the flying carpet, we can do something like army size 30 points, no limit on particular things. We can bring with us 5 of these cubes if we want, because they're size 6, which I think would help out quite a bit for taking mighty pillars, especially if he empties off onto the abyss. And so I think this is a pretty good turn for us. I think we might have a little bit of a think about spending gold. In particular, very, very tempted to just put down a temple here. But I kind of want to see how things shape up a little bit in various different areas. We can buy more defense, and this would be kind of like the other thing that we would go for. But in general, I think buying defense up a little bit is kind of spewy. We're just trying to deny vision with this, but there might be better ways to deny vision rather than like increasing defense in this way, like recruiting watchers or summoning watchers, these guys who add 50 patrol strength. We take a look at precision, yeah. They get plus 50 patrol strength, and so they are very, very good patrollers. We're not even patrolling with them, but rather just kind of holding down the fort. We patrolled with them last turn. Still haven't really caught that many scouts down here, so I guess this is kind of fine. Anyone who sees what we're doing might get concerned by the number of forts we have underground. And another thing we wanted to point out here is the income on Hot Hollows. That's hot. 345. And part of this is that our forts, our underground forts specifically, these give plus 20% income. Now, the downside of underground is a lot of the underground, if we take a look at population, has terrain population bonus minus 0.4%, so they never really get huge population. However, with this much growth, we're overcoming it. This is one of the things, our population on Perrine was stalled out, and also growth is more valuable. Like 0.4% growth is more valuable on a 40,000, a 40,000 pop province, and so this is really useful for us. Or like getting 0.4% growth here is better than 1.2% growth, right? In some place with 10k population, at least for a lot of turns, and so. Marginally, the additional 0.4% we've gotten from that throne effectively gives us more income than the initial 0.4%. Here's another high pop place that's probably growing at a decent clip and will continue to make more money. We have so many places growing at 1% growth. We are making 200 more gold than last turn despite not acquiring provinces. This turn we're acquiring provinces, so we won't see the uptick in gold next turn, or we'll see the uptick in gold from taking this and unlocking this. And then I think that we maybe actually even see, in that case, 5k gold next turn. But we'll see. Something else we also want to be cognizant of here is defending provinces from raiding. And that's one of the reasons we moved this guy over with a bunch of Mouflins. I actually think a Tartalo and a bunch of Mouflins is pretty good at resisting raiding. And is kind of an interesting idea, but he also gets to kind of scoop up the horsemen, and we might increasingly, in areas where we have horsemen, actually, I think we do want to get on recruitment of these. Just park a Tartalo with a bunch of Mouflin in there, and the Tartalo can move the horsemen up when needed, and the Mouflin, free spawn, not expensive, and a good anti-raiding force, especially against raids that involve mages. Unfortunately, he has like an 800 gold chassis that is cap-only recruit that is really good at raiding, gets death 3, And then it casts invulnerability on itself, so effectively having 25 prot versus mundane attacks, so non-magical attacks. And then it spams Horde of Skeletons, and that can... and then also does... I forget what it's called, something Vortex, Soul Vortex, where anything that gets near it just takes damage and it siphons off the life. Those things are going to be a problem for us, and in the long term, we might have to develop anti-raiding squads that can kill those things. But I think that in terms of things that are up to the task, I think a Baza Juan with a couple pieces of gear would actually be pretty good at killing those things. And so we might start scattering those around, especially in places where we have labs. It's really kind of free, and so we might want to get a lab and a temple down in Packwoods, but currently not going to add any defense to it because maybe we add up to +6. We don't want to lose the supply chain, but I don't know if we're committed to trying to defend it really that hard. Really, the Mammoth Grove, the Curtain Wall, and Lyncher, like this L-shaped, is more where we're committed to stopping them. The Curtain Wall especially right now, because Palisades are going up. There's 2 more turns on that. And so defending Lyncher against a raid, I thought was a little bit of a priority. There's going to be mages left in Mammoth Grove, and also in Great Cenote. There's going to be actually kind of nothing. Well, a bunch extra troops, but maybe that's not enough. We are recruiting out of there every turn. Eventually, we do want to fort this, though. It's got 258 income, it's in an important strategic place, and it's a cave, even though it's above ground, so it will get plus 20% income from our bonus. The forts, otherwise, are giving 7.5% additional income, or even underground. The half the administration bonus, but underground we get 27% income, and this doesn't benefit from upgrading to Citadel, so that's why we just have a bunch of level 1 forts rather than upgrading any of them. Although we might upgrade Hot Hollows, and maybe this is something to save towards, because having more mages coming out of here is probably useful. We'll see. Incidentally, also, we were talking about evocation. I actually think that against both of these guys, Blade Wind is pretty decent. And we could cast it with our shamans after they cast Summon Earth Power to go from 2 to 3 Earth magic. This produces a ton of effects, and it is 14 damage, but against really low prot enemies, this is just eviscerates things, and both the bats and all the Chud guys are low defense, so maybe it's even better that we go evocation next. It just kind of feels a little bit bad in terms of our turn for our pretender, because I don't know what we're going to do with our pretender. Whereas otherwise we would awake sleeper, this type of thing. Oh well. Another thing I wanted to point out is all the Roost guys have resistance to cold. We're leaving our Yetis and our Ice Drakes behind. We don't actually want to use these guys against them that badly, and they'll actually be pretty nice as a defense force in Ripewoods, because I still think they're not 0 utility versus Roost. We just don't want to trade with them against Roost, because I don't think they'll trade very well. But they are 0 maintenance, and so we can just hold them for a rainy day type of thing. But I don't think we want the Frost weapon with, not a lot of damage on the guys who have 5 cold resist on their entire army. Do rattle off a message to Roos, and unlike a lot of other messages where we have some sort of goal in mind, this one's just for fun. I see that diplomacy is lost on the people of Roos. Prepare to find steel in its stead. Alright. But this is kind of what we're expecting to. I do think that the Roos player is probably, relatively speaking, a softer spot, even though they, relative to the lobby and relative to like what we can attack here, given a lot of what we've seen, and they aren't really pulling mages with their guys, I don't think they're that prepared for like us jumping the backline with stuff. Although, it's really not very effective is this Frostbrand. We will probably pass this Frostbrand off to a scout and have the scout take it back to a lab, because we care about it negating body ethereal, I suppose, but again, this is doing I guess it's 8 damage, so it kind of does some amount of stuff, but Frozen Flames is not very good against the ice guys, so we would rather use this against Xibalba and figure out some other sort of option for fighting Roos. In particular, we actually have started working on that. We're forging a couple things, a Storm Spool, a Cathartic Lion Pelt, cathartic, I don't think that's the correct word, but down here we are forging Snake Bladder Stick, and I think we'll kill a Roos with this. A little bit of AoE poison, have him jump the back line, and get some damage down this way. I guess it's not that much damage at kind of a time. Maybe we just don't actually have very good options for kind of AoE against them. This type of thing. We could look to other forms of magic. I think we're also forging a little bit of Black Steel Plate. Really kind of this turn, in terms of equipping these guys out, like this is one of our thugs that's jumping the backline. In terms of equipping these guys out, we really did kind of run low on gear. Was expecting to actually get stuff done with Ring of the Warrior and then didn't end up doing that, but this will be nice long-term against Xibalba because he does have some morale check stuff, so the extra morale and attack I think will be fine, but down to 1 Great Sword of Sharpness. I suppose we could use the Midget Masher against Roos. This will allow us to, with the Gentles, one-shot basically anything. He doesn't have anything big, but are forging some gear, trying to kind of make up some of our stuff. We probably don't want to idle the Ivy Crown, though, for a turn, so we'll actually find some guy to give it to summon some Vinemen. Actually, we're going to change things up with our Pretender. We're going to forge a Gossamer Veil. The reason for this is that we have, in here, this guy, he's summoning another Water Kobold. What we're going to do is we're going to use them to site search, so we can maybe get some Glamour income. So it would be nice if next turn, when we have the Kobold for searching at Glamour level 2, that we also have the booster. And our mage turns on this guy are limited, and denying 40 gold when we don't get the return on the gold and being a little bit obnoxious by ranging Cormark, it's probably okay, but do want to kind of get things kick-started on our Glamour income a little bit better, especially because Obscuro has been just completely useless. He has searched far and wide and found nothing for us. Alright, spend some time looking around, and we actually have a very straightforward way to gain the additional research. This guy, instead of searching, can gain the research, and we can go Conjuration instead, because I still think we do slightly prefer Conjuration, and so we will do that, and we will get Conjuration, and then we will queue up Evocation, because I do think that's what we want next. Maybe an argument for Blood Magic 1, but we'll leave it for Evocation coming in next. It's only 3 overflows, so we'll have a little bit of a decision next turn, but basically getting Exacxes on the Conjuration. Alright, so that last turn did not go according to plan. Mainly around the second forest battle going poorly. And so let's just kick things off with this battle. And we have so many gems invested in these units. This is just very, very punty in terms of this going south. We have, 10 gem item, 5 gem item. We have 10 gem, 5 gem, 5 gem, 10 gem, 15 gem items. Just a whole lot of stuff here for us. And we have the Gentles with a whole bunch of stuff. So this is a really big investment. We also have quite a big investment in summons. And we wanted to make the Foul Vapors work. And the concept kind of does end up working, but it's just too much stuff. It's just too much stuff from the enemies. We have coming in hot the first wave as we are starting the script. Now, the kind of saving grace of our army really is the Gentles basically take no damage when doing their script here, which we were surprised about, and we'll get kind of back to that. But these Springhawks in particular were just like way too much for us. Group regeneration goes off, and we run into the problem of routing when the Gentles are still like ready to go. And I'm thinking that I'm just playing these poorly, and there's perhaps a better way to do it. I thought that we could hold off longer. I thought regeneration, getting planted on some of these guys, would maybe allow us to continue to get through our script and to kind of start doing some things. But the Gentles basically just barely kind of get through their script, but they don't really take any damage. So this Gentle has taken a little bit of damage. When they take damage, it can cancel their script, so this is a significant issue for us. Wow, he's got so many HP. He's so hot right now, Hansel. Oh, he's enlarged. Oh, he's so big. And I think 92, very nice. I think that we might even take a risk here, but these guys get swarmed. Also, a bit of a mistake. If the commander who's commanding these guys gets routed, that causes an issue. And we just should have had the Crushers under a different commander, because you'll see the Crushers disappear in a second. Even though they're absorbing, like, a lot of what is punishment. It's not enough. But the Foul Vapors is killing a bunch of these guys. They are slowly taking damage, but it's too slow. We don't have enough anvil for our hammer of Foul Vapors. And Foul Vapors isn't killing the thing that's really the problem for us. And you can see that our Gentle, he's out of it. He's done. And our other Gentles also ran, because there's too much HP damage taken. Zeus also does walk up, and he's really spooky as well. He does a lot of damage. And it looks like he's got Trample Boots and some Cauldron, but, or that's not the thing we wanted to show off. We wanted to show off this. 26 damage, ranged attack. Once he gets into range, that's pretty brutal. I don't know if he uses it if he's in melee, though. But, our Gentle's out. But everyone else just gets murdered. Everyone else just gets murdered. We cause a lot of damage. And it's interesting, you can see that the Foul Vapor is still ticking afterwards. And so we kill some things even after we've been routed. But the overall result, we lose 114 guys. Basically only the Gentles survive. Gentles do a lot of damage. And we reduce them to about 150. And this is an example of, I think we said last episode, we're going to start encountering more knowledge checks where I just don't know if something works. We maybe could have tried to check this, but we would have had to repeatedly reroll to find thrones. I guess we could have set up specifically Titan of Heaven and a whole bunch of units and scripted them in some sort of way. But we killed most of the Springhawks. We killed most of the Icarids. We killed a lot of the Griffins. And I think the issue might be just we're sending too much HP in. Because we just want the Gentles, really. We just want the Gentles and facilitation of the Gentles. And we saw that the Gentles weren't really taking a whole ton of damage. So I think what we're going to do... here for this first one, we're going to make this Summon Earth Power. And the second one, we're going to make Blessing. We have our Prophet as one of these Gentles. And this is maybe to some extent a limit check. But we're just going to send the 3 Gentles back in. A big reason why we wanted to take this and why we were rushing this turn was to go after Mighty Pillars. And we could try and send 1 or 2 Gentles over there. Not too keen on just getting them killed into Xibalba. Although I think that the Force of Mighty Pillars is likely to move. And so instead we're going to try for this. If this is a punt, it might be a punt. I think that we can weather the storm of the guys coming in, even the Springhawks, even though the Springhawks do lightning damage. We have on this guy a Storm Spool, so he's going to resist a lot of the damage, and just having the defense skill also lets these guys resist. To that extent, actually, maybe we want the Blessing first. The Blessing allows us to dodge the attack. I'm thinking this guy has more prot if he does the Earth Power first, because extra Earth skill does give it, but it's only like +1, so that's probably not it. So we're gonna have these guys scripted. Paxi as the Prophet can buff stuff up. He's only got 100 HP. Not going to have regeneration on these guys, unfortunately, because we do not have access to any nature gems over there. We have access to nature gem here, though, so this guy can cast regeneration. That's going to be part of his script. And we just need these guys to maintain enough health to not rout. Paxi is very unlikely to rout because he has he is the Prophet. And this guy, I mean, 17's quite a bit quite a bit. He's got a good amount of experience. They have high base morale. And this is also not enemy dominion, it's neutral dominion, so I think we will get +1 on that front as well. And so I think we're in good shape to succeed our morale checks. But that's kind of thing one, is that went bad. And that kind of makes the rest of this stuff go bad. Golor mod, as well, doesn't go well. Our idea of these guys are really good into some trash province defense. Less so into the knights, but even then, this just doesn't quite work how we want. They route. The gelatinous cubes did fantastically, but these Atavi guys seem like maybe not it. So that is a bit unfortunate. And so our plan of a follow-up of going after 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces is now very significantly disturbed because we were planning out of Second Forest to go to Mighty Pillars and then split up our raid squads to hit 3 different things, but now our raid squads are out. And so the fight with Xibalba takes a little bit of a different texture here. We also have a fight in the Abyss. This one is pretty straightforward. We'll just take a quick gander at it. Something bad happened in here, but this was just going against the province defense, and they drop in, and unfortunately they kill the leader of the Amazons. We maybe could have placed her in a place that was a little bit safer. Other than that, we didn't lose like anything. We lost 3 things, but one of them was the Jade Priestess. And losing the Jade Priestess means we lose her entire retinue. So that went pretty poorly. Was kind of expecting them to, yeah, not have a bit of a thing. What we are going to do now is just go back down. We're going to go back down because we forgot gems and we want gems, and there's gems here available for us to pick up. Also, we're getting a bunch of reinforcements here. Also, expecting a crackdown force from Forest of Idun and Mighty Pillars because this fort, the walls have been breached, is ready to be assaulted. I think that he has to try and sally forth, and so we're just going to waste a bunch of time from a bunch of units. There's also another thing that was unfortunate for us. We have not seen any reports of Ozelotls so far, which is by far the strongest unit that he has. Now he has Ozelotls. He's not going to have a lot of Aussies, but us trying to avoid the power spike or get in before the power spike is now to some extent failed, but he has a spell that summons a whole lot of them, and hopefully he doesn't have that. Maybe he has that. I think that's pretty deep in blood, so I think it's unlikely. What we're doing here is we're trying to crack down and goal our mod. If this attack on Second Forest fails, and we still have some Gentils left over, and whittle them down even more to a lower amount, I was thinking maybe these guys can be useful, and we would also have a decent size army over here, especially with some more of the army being transferred over, that we could maybe get something going, take Second Forest, and kind of recover here, but really lost a lot of power. If we lose 1 Gentil, that's probably okay. If we lose 2, this is really bad. But we're going to risk it to get the biscuit, expecting to get exposed a little bit in terms of what things are going on. But okay, that's kind of what's going on with Xibalba. We're also moving forests around. We're trying to raid the backline, at least a little bit here. And so hopefully that'll be useful for us. Also, we do get vision on some sort of buildup from Theranos, but I think that this is just stuff coming in because the natural... he hasn't picked up these units and moved them over, and they are just free spawn. But we're not sure, because we haven't seen that much of it. Okay, we get a bunch of summons off. We find 2 magical sites over here. A little Stone Circle and Thunder Oak. Stone Circle's a little bit intriguing. I don't think we have a lab here, so I don't think we want to invest in a lab. We are floating 300. I think we're going to continue to float 300 rather than recruit more guys. And we also find another magical site via event. It's not this one. 5 Earth Gems is nice. In the Silverwold, which is a new Hoburg have settled down. This doesn't really do anything because we're not going to recruit these guys, and we already have as much growth as we can get from that event. So that's kind of what's going on. There was a battle in Merlotia, our little raid squad. we get in with the Mouflins. He didn't have any sort of province defense, so just very straightforward for us. They just come in and they go thunk, thunk, thunk. Oh! Okay, yeah, that tracks. For a second I thought in my head, oh wait, we killed a Son of Heaven? That's actually such a nice little snipe there. Did he keep it behind a search? Fantastic. We're going to crack down into Wise Spring Grove. Yet another instance of we don't really care if we lose that party. It's just a Tartalo and some Mouflins. Our investment is 70 gold in a lot of turns. It's not a big deal. We also have coming from here a Sorgina. And she is going to be summoning air elementals. So we got Conjuration 5. We can now summon air elementals. And so she's just going to get in, bless herself, summon an air elemental, buff herself a little bit, and advance and cast spells. I think that's a similar script to what we have over here. Oh, we don't have bless on here. We want to put bless, so we'll fix that. But she should be blessing herself. And then down here, Baptizer. We have another battle. A little bit of some underwater action against basically a non-force. This guy blesses, and he doesn't have any PD. He skimps on the PD, and except where in like the choke points or whatever, it's like 0 or 100 PD for this guy. So this is going to be really nice for raiding, and then we're going to move on to Iron Peaks and hopefully be able to raid that. We're also going to cast with our Pretender, Call of the Wild, on Cormark, and get in another raiding party here as well. So expecting to kind of go after a few locations, and we have the Crackdown. We have now like 250 units in this kind of grouping. Can we get all these together? Yeah. Kind of straightforward. We're going to do Blessing and Fire and Keep Distance. We could maybe do spells. We have quite a lot of stuff to bless. Maybe that'd be a little bit better. I think we put Blessing on the script of the 2 Shamans who are coming in, so not that big a deal. And then we have the Sorgina fluffing up the Gentles, and the Gentles going to be jumping the backline, and the Scout sneaking in with some extra gems. I think we win this pretty comfortably. We do have these guys coming in as well, and these guys on their script are going to be casting Summon Earth Power, Blessing, and then Summon an Earth Elemental. And so that will be able to get in there, and then they're going to cast various other things. I think that that'll be kind of okay. Maybe just Stone Skidding immediately is going to be better, but we're going after the fortress. I'm expecting him to assault the fortress, and this just to, like, not be a battle, basically, because... Oh, no, wait. The assault doesn't go off, I don't think. I think our battle goes off first, and then if he beats us, the assault goes off, so I think we're just going to get in there. I'm not sure if he'll make an adjustment either here or here, but we don't care one way or the other. This one is safe. I don't think he's going to crack down on this, so I think our Sorgina will be successful there. And then I think this raid will be successful. We'll see, though. We do get a battle in the Land of Plenty. And we haven't looked at this battle, or I haven't looked at this battle before, but it does look like, wow. Okay. That is so many. That is so many mages. How many mages is that? Okay, let's just, like... There's 18 mages. God, that's so much investment. Holy... The thing to do it against this, like, might even just be to run back, but it looks like... Yomi's being successful, and Yomi is actually way scarier than what we thought they were. So we're going to stop slinging Yomi. But Yomi does send us 10 gems this turn, but they just have so many of these guys. I think that they have liquidated a ton of their gems by just kind of converting them. And okay, we have some Elemental Fortitude, Divine Blessing, so their profit is here, I think. It was casting Divine Blessing. Yeah, that's the profit. And a whole bunch of chaff, so maybe issues regarding the routing, perhaps, with the chaff. But these guys all cast Blessing, and then Lightning Bolts. Oh, I don't like this. If you're letting them get to you, I guess it kind of works. Okay. So a bunch of Lightning Bolts go off, and that's going to be probably why Yomi asked for lightning resistance items. let's actually check these guys, what they have. They're casting lightning resistance. We have a little bit of a helmet. They do need helmets pretty actively because their gear is, their starting protection on their gear is good, but they don't start with a helmet. So if we look at this guy's protection head, only 11. So that's why there's just a bunch of random helmets. This guy's got a little bit more stuff. This might have been the Ring of Tamed Lightning we even sent him, which we did send over. And hey, there's our Storm Spool that we sent him, maybe. So he's getting some use out of that. And looks like the lightning spells are coming in. These guys are pretty fierce, but they are going to get absolutely shredded by these guys because they have unholy weapons. That's plus 15 damage, so they're going to be doing like 31 damage a hit against these Rakshasa guys. So I think that they'll be just generally very... looks like they're trading somewhat well. Though with only 14 hit points, they actually do get one-shot by these guys who do 40... Yeah, okay. So maybe it's a more even exchange than I thought. Just because these guys have so many stats, and some of the stuff like the regeneration is wasted when you get one-shot. Nice on the Daoni. Not very good here. And looks like a big proper rumble, where these guys are exchanging resources really quite a lot, and just the general exchange of resources by other parties favors us. Because when other people are trading resources, we proportionally get stronger relative to those people, right? And so when there's like a 60-40 win and things are close and they're back and forth, that really favors us. Looks like the Onis are getting in. Are these guys on advanced spells? They must be on advanced spells. And yeah, it looks like they do get in there and do overcome. And 11 of these mages dead, which is bad for them. The Shikomes, he loses 50 though, so that's 50 death gems worth of stuff lost for him there. And so that's pretty substantive. We also have this battle in Tiash, which we didn't look at, but okay, this is pretty straightforward. You're just going to have this massive stack of the... Muspelheim is not splitting up. He is saying, you know what, you will not ever beat this army ever until you get tricks, which are for kids. I mean, that's one way to play. I think that it's just not good, but it's also hard to abuse. Because you're not going to be hitting a situation where you can, if you can't split them up, then you can't, like, divide and conquer. And so what your strategy has to be is just to avoid them. And I think that that's what Yomi's trying to do. Where is this? So he's taking Tiash, so Yomi might get their army trapped. They're building a fort here. I don't like this construction of the fort as well. I think that that is optimistic. I think you could have come back to here. Just pull back. Kind of try to secure this area, because now only one of them can get out on you, because they both have heat scales, right? So they can't sail, so you just defend here, and whichever one is here is the only one that can attack you. And then you try and take out Tianchi. But okay. Excuse me. We have a battle in Moss Forest. A little bit unfortunate for Atlantis. Atlantis dropped their pillar in, and we get to see their god. I think we'll even screenshot this just so we kind of know what's up. We get to see their god, which is a dark crystal, and we get to see some of the magic that they can cast here. Leading with Body Ethereal. Power of the Spheres, I think they have access to. I'm a little curious why they didn't cast Power of the Spheres, but they cast Iron Skin too. And there's no, like, special technique here for Theranos that we can see. And we just see just a whole bunch of spells cast here. But Theranos just eventually whittles them down. And the way that they do it, I think, is partially through fatigue. For a very long time, this guy doesn't take any damage. But as fatigue gets over 50, it gets easier and easier to crit you. He also maybe low rolls, like, Terror and this type of stuff. Flying Shards is okay. It means he has Evocation 4. And so some of this is not good for him, but We don't see the damage starting to come in, but I think once he gets over 100 fatigue, he's really going to start eating it. Still haven't seen him take any damage. The fatigue is up at 92, and you're subjected to a whole lot more crits once you start getting higher. Still, fatigue is actually kind of maintaining. Still not taking damage. There's the first bit of damage at 21. That's a big wallop, and he doesn't have a way to recover it. So I wonder who is doing that. 19, 20. Yeah, so a lot of these in succession. I wonder... Oh, that might be the Malia just finally got up to him. That's probably what it is. Just great swords of sharpness, 33 damage, overriding the Bar of the Ethereal, just rolling decently. And I think that's it. Because the Malia is just getting in there. The other guys were just too chaffy. The Malia is good enough and really swingy. But Atlantis loses their god here, which is going to be unfortunate for them, losing quite a bit of resources off of that. We know that they have Thaumaturgy 4 and Evocation 4, based off of them teleporting their things, so they have Thaumaturgy, and we saw some of the things. I think we already took a look at the Battle of Baptizer. Yeah, we did. And these other ones here. And so that's kind of what was happened. There was an arena deathmatch. It was won by Lanka. We probably should have participated, but we were a little focused on trying to get last turn off without a hitch. We were not successful. We do get a bunch of patrolling. There was a lack of supplies in the Abyss. Abyss did get breached, but that's kind of what happened this turn. And we did go over a little bit how we're kind of attacking in. We are bringing over a force from here, but then we stopped recruiting additional Myru. I felt that it was gratuitous. Kind of want to see how things shake out, but I'm thinking that we might build a temple here and a temple in Second Forest, and then a temple somewhere else next turn maybe, because we are at 12 temples, so if we get up to 15, our Dominion strength will be 10, and this will help for being able to get after Airmore. Airmore is now controlled by the AI. The player tapped out, or he put in a request. He's like, hey, I control 0 provinces. I have no agency. I would like to get taken over by the AI, and that seems reasonable. And so Airmore will be controlled by the AI. I think once we get access to these 3 locations, we'll also want temples there. And we want to try and dom push Airmore to kill them. I think that the AI also might just attack into the vampires repeatedly, in which case we can clear out the vampires with our gentles. But that's kind of what we got going on. We're attacking into Rus. After next turn, we might try send a diplomatic message to Rus. I don't think we, God, we would really love to take this army. We would really love to take this massive army we have here and just walk it over to Xibalba. And not have to fight Rus. And this is kind of why we went in Verdant Steppes, but Rus is giving us nothing. They didn't respond to our message. Several turns ago, they didn't, or like 15 turns ago, they didn't respond to our most recent message. And one thing that's nice about attacking people who aren't very conversational is I think they're less likely to try and organize a coalition against you. And so, probably in principle, the less talkative ones are probably better to go after. And so, we'll see where this happens, but really not liking the opening salvo in on Xibalba. We really want to be on the front foot because they have flying guys and they have stealthy guys, so we want them trying to respond to us raiding them as opposed to us trying to defend against raiding. We're probably going to try and put in better raid defense, but we'll see what we can do. A couple other things is one, we are empowering this guy in fire magic, which should be fairly good for us. And then 2, we recruited a couple champions in a couple spots and have them just working on getting blood slaves. So we're going to try and break into blood a little bit more actively here. And to that end, we are recruiting Camazots. These guys can roll blood, but even if they don't roll blood, if we empower them in blood, they do get a blood hunter bonus. And so we are going to start empowering some Camazots as well. Park 1 in Perrine, Park 1 over here, have a combination of patrollers and blood hunters, and start trying to, I think, push that a little bit. We have enough income to pay for commanders continuously blood hunting, and so we'll also take a little bit of a look around at other high pop places that we could maybe sport a commander and just have them sit there. I didn't realize we kept the recruitment going on that guy, but I think that's going to be a turn for us. We'll try and see if there's maybe something useful to spend this gold on, but I think that we just want more information. We have 2 forts finishing next turn in this location and also in Undermountain, so expecting to see next turn's location over 5k, but maybe not, because we're not really grabbing that much stuff. We didn't get as many provinces as we had hoped this turn. I think we talked about this maneuver. Maybe we didn't. No, we did. Just trying to waste their time here, and actually link up with some more significant forces, because we kind of jumped the gun so we could try and get a cancel on the Mighty Pillars fort. We at the very least do cancel the Citadel here, so that's something.